Hey, what's up guys, DarkArmedDuelist, and today doing a great double casted caster deck profile. So I'm really excited for you guys because this is actually suggested me by one of my patrons, Gloomba. And this deck is an incredible deck that focuses around summoning out the great double casted caster by using some old school boss monsters like Magician of Black Chaos to make this card absolutely massive, which is really awesome. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in every single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this, and definitely give Gloomba some love for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Magician of Black Chaos, which is an amazing old school boss monster that you can actually use to go in for the great double casted caster, which is just absolutely amazing. We then play 3 copies of the Masked Beast, which is actually the highest attack point normal ritual monster in the entire game, sitting at 3200, which is really awesome, especially when you use both of these monsters to go in for the great double casted caster, because it will actually come out at 6,000 attack points, which is just absolutely humongous. We then play 2 copies of Zero the Mat. Zero the Mat is really good in the deck as well because it has 2800 attack points, and it's also a level 8 dark monster, just like the other 2 boss monsters that we're playing in the deck, to be able to use cards like Allure of Darkness and trade in the deck to be able to really dig into the deck to get our combo pieces. So all 3 of these are really good for the deck. We then play 3 copies of Magician Soul. Magician Soul is a great combo piece for the deck and just an incredible card because it has the ability that you can send 2 spells or traps from your hand to the graveyard or from your field to the graveyard and then draw that many cards, which helps us dig into the deck and draw really into the deck so we can get our combo pieces. And it also has the ability, if this card is in your hand, you can send a level 6 or higher spellcast type monster from your deck to the graveyard to special summon this card, which is always going to be Magician of Black Chaos that we're going to be sending to the graveyard to summon out this card, because it's going to get you an additional monster on the field so we can link summon into Anaconda to then use some of our fusion spells, which is really awesome. We then play 3 copies of Keeper of Dragon Magic, which is a great card for the deck because it has the ability, if it's normal or special summon, you can discard a card to add a polymerization spell or a fusion normal spell from your deck to your hand, which helps out the deck a lot to get the exact card that you need between Magicalized Fusion or polymerization to your hand so you can go in for the great double casted caster. This card also locks you into fusion summoning for the rest of the turn, which isn't that big of a deal because all we're summoning from the extra deck anyways is the occasional copy of Anaconda or Cross Sheep with the great double casted caster. We then play 3 copies of Predaplant Orthoscorpio. Orthoscorpio is really good in the deck as a normal summon because it has the ability, if it's normal or special summon, you can send a monster from your hand to the graveyard and then special summon a Predaplant monster from your deck, except another copy of this card, which is always going to be our copies of Darling Cobra, which is a really good card to summon off the copy of the Orthoscorpio because it has the ability, if it's special summoned by the effect of a Predaplant monster, you can add a polymerization spell card or a fusion spell card from your deck to your hand, which is always going to be either polymerization or magicalized fusion, so we can go in for the great double casted caster. And with playing 2 copies of this card, we're pretty much guaranteeing that we're always going to have one in deck, but if you do draw into one, you can always use it with Allure of Darkness to be able to banish it to draw more cards. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Black Magic Ritual. Black Magic Ritual is a good one-of because you're going to be able to use this card with pre-preparation of rites to be able to search out from the deck Magician of Black Chaos. You don't really ever ritual summon in the deck. You're basically just using the ritual monsters to go in for the great double casted caster, but you can use the ritual spells to combo with Magician Souls to be able to draw more cards in the deck, which is really helpful. We're then playing a single copy of Curse of the Masked Beast and a single copy of Zero Ritual. These are really good, again, because you can use them with Magician Souls to really dig into the deck. We then play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. Pre-Preparation of Rites is an incredible card that's going to get us a +1 because it has the ability that you get to add a ritual spell card from your deck to your hand, and then you can add a ritual monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand whose name is listed on the ritual spell, which is really awesome because basically as long as you don't draw all 3 of these cards, you're going to be able to search the deck for a bunch of different ritual monsters that you can then use as fusion material to go in for your copy of Double Casted Caster. We then play 3 copies of Polymerization, which is just basically here so we can fusion summon into the great Double Casted Caster. We then play 3 copies of Magicalized Fusion, which is an incredible card in the deck to play as a 3 of because it has the ability you get to fusion summon a Spellcaster fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on from it from your field or graveyard, which is really awesome because this card is basically Dragon's Mirror and Miracle Fusion in basically for spellcasters, which is just really, really good to be able to use this card to make a second copy of Double Casted Caster. Once you use Polymerization to summon the first one, you can then just banish the materials from the graveyard to summon out your second one to go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Extra Foolish Burial. Extra Foolish Burial is incredible in the deck because it has the ability to pay half your life points and then you send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. And you can only use the effect of this card once per turn, and you can't set spell or trap cards the turn you activate this card, which is again not that big of a deal because we're not setting any spells or trap cards to the field, but you can send cards like Blue Eyes Ultimate to the graveyard to be able to summon out your copy of Double Casted Caster with Miracle or your copy of Magicalized Fusion to then be able to summon out an absolutely massive copy of Double Casted Caster, which is really awesome. You can also send cards like your Herald of the Arclight to then get a search of a ritual monster, which is really, really good. We then play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness because you can use this card with pretty much any monster that we have in the deck to banish for cost for this card. To be able to draw 2 cards is just absolutely incredible. And then we play 3 copies of Trade-In because we play so many level 8 ritual monsters in the deck. You can basically just use this card with our 8 targets that we have in the deck to be able to discard one into the graveyard to set up for your copy of Magicalized Fusion and then draw 2 cards, which is really, really good in the deck to be able to just dig into the deck to get the exact cards you need so you can OTK your opponent. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the Great Double Casted Caster. This card is a really, really awesome TCG exclusive boss monster right now that's just absolutely incredible. That has the ability that takes 2 non-effect monsters to summon this card. And it gains attack equal to the combined original attack of any ritual, fusion, synchro, XZ, or link monster used for as material to summon this card, which is really good because that's why I'm using all the ritual monsters in this deck because I don't want to have to summon them from the extra deck to then summon this card. But this card also has the ability that it can attack directly, and if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target one of your non-effect monsters in the graveyard or banished and special summon it, which is a pretty good effect, but it never comes up in this deck because you have to properly ritual summon your monsters because this card does not say ignoring their summoning conditions. We then play a single copy of our Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera is a really good card to summon in the deck as well. If you draw into Polymerization and you have a copy of any monster on the field and cards in your hand, you're going to be able to summon this card, and it's super, super easy, and it's extremely powerful because it just takes 3 monsters with different names to summon this card. It has the ability that it must first be fusion summoned using only fusion materials from your hand or field, with at least 1 monster from each. And if this card is fusion summoned by a spell effect, then you can draw cards equal to the number of cards used as fusion material from your hand, and if you do, you get to destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of cards used as a material from the field. And you can only use the effect of this card once per turn, and then while Polymerization is the graveyard, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, which is really good, especially on a 3300 attack point monster. We then play a single copy of the First of the Dragon because we're playing so many different normal monsters in the deck, and it has the ability that you get to fusion summon this card using 2 normal monsters, and it cannot be destroyed by battle, and it also has the ability with a normal monster, except with a normal monster, and it's unaffected by other monster effects as well, so you can basically just throw this card in defense position, and your opponent's going to have a really tough time dealing with this card. We then play a single copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon because we can use Polymerization with monsters on the field to summon this card out to our side of the field, and it can get absolutely massive on the field to just help us go in for game. One copy of Predaplant Chimera Afflasia. Chimera Afflasia is a really good one of, because you can actually fusion summon in this card very, very easily by just using Orthos Scorpio and Darling Cobra, which is just really, really nice, or a Predaplant plus any dark monster, which is kind of neat in case you draw into a ritual monster plus a Darling Cobra and a Polymerization. You can actually make this card, which is really, really awesome because it has the ability to once per turn target a monster on the field with a level less than or equal to this card, and you just get to banish it. And when this card declares an attack involving this card and opponent's face-up monster, you can activate this effect that until the end of this turn, that opponent's monster loses 1,000 attack points. And if it does, this card gains 1,000 attack points. So this card can get really, really big. It also has the ability to once per turn during the next standby phase after this card was sent to the graveyard, you can add a Polymerization spell or a fusion spell from your deck to your hand, which is a really, really good effect. We then play a single copy of Elder Insignis because we can send it to the graveyard with extra Foolish Burial to be able to pop a card, and then a single copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon because we can send this card to the graveyard with our copy of extra Foolish Burial to then use with Magical Eyes Fusion to summon our great double casted caster to get it absolutely massive. And it's really cool to actually summon out a fusion monster using Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and Magician of Black Chaos. That's just really awesome. We then play 2 copies of Herald of the Arclight because if it's sent to the graveyard, you can use its effect to be able to add a ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. A single copy of Wind Pegasus. Wind Pegasus is a good one of as well because it has the ability that while this card's on the field or in the graveyard, you can banish it, target a card your opponent controls, and shuffle it into the deck, which is really, really good. One copy of Cross Sheep because it comes in very handy in the deck because it has the ability that if you fusion summon, you get to special summon a level 4 or lower monster from the graveyard, but if you ritual summon, you get to draw 2 and then discard 2, which comes up every so often just in case you need to draw into the deck. And then we finally play 2 copies of Anaconda because you can use Anaconda with Polymerization and Magical Eyes Fusion to summon out all of your boss monsters, which is really, really awesome. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to be able to play with. It's absolutely incredible how powerful the great double casted caster is, and I think the card is absolutely hilarious because if you guys haven't taken a look close at the deck, it actually has eyes right there. Right there, there's actually 2 people in the cloak, which is kind of cool, which is why it's the great double casted caster. And definitely be on the lookout for test hands for this deck coming to the channel. And anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.